Is it?
Throw it over to non-alcoholic.
Welcome to the Kingdom Calls podcast, or should I call it the Kingdom Calls Wake, or even the Kingdom Calls Post-Mortem? Because I suppose last week we were full of the joys of going to Dublin, beating Mayo, and coming back with Sam and having a joyous occasion here this evening with my knowledgeable panel. That is also debatable, by the way. But unfortunately, on the day, Sligo, Mayo deserved their win. They were the better side on the day, and they are celebrating in Mayo right now. And well done to them from everybody here in Kerry and the Kingdom Calls podcast. But that doesn't mean that we were satisfied with what went on from our own point of view. So we're going to have a discussion this evening. We're not going to assassinate anybody in particular, but we just want to find out what happened. How could a team who were 4-1 on, who had beaten Dublin and Tyrone along the way, and were expected to win this one, but didn't, unfortunately. They went close. It was only 3 points in the end, but close is not good enough at the end of the day. Mayo, and we can't begrudge them, 75 years in the wilderness, and now they have Sam, and they're really enjoying it, and they're celebrating it. So this podcast, of course, is sponsored by Cronin 00, by somebody who's drinking black tea, and also by here in Parker's Bar, and thanks to Mike, he's been a great host, as well as a sponsor to us, and he's looked after us very well over the weeks that we've been discussing both the football and in particular the hurling. After this show, we're going to do a county hurling final show, so that will be up also later tonight. So take a look out for that. Now, we are men of our word. We believe in fairness and we believe in fair play. So here I have a pie. It's an apple pie, I think. I hope there's no illicit substances in it, because the panel I have are crazy enough, besides putting something in a pie. And it's humble pie. Look, you can see the signs. Humble pie. We're men. Now, we're going to have to keep one slice though, lads.
Yeah.
One slice for Aidan Leahy, the man who drove Mayo to victory with his famous Halton Cup claim. Imagine the team who are now the All-Ireland champions were also considered to be champions by one Aidan Leahy of the Halton Cup. I'm not too sure. I think
he never
Mayo,
said they won the Talton Cup. He said they were playing in it.
They were playing in it.
The difference, yeah.
Yeah, well, that's even worse. They should have won it. But I'm sure Mayo folk will take it in the spirit that it was given. But he's still going to eat the humble pie. Now I have a big knife here. I know there's a few fellas in this panel I'd like to knife, but I'm not able. I won't. So we're going to cut a few slices here before we start. Listen, there's only one house-trained man here. He's married.
Oh,
so
yeah.
would you divide that up, please, Damian? I'll introduce the panel as he's doing it. We have a few plates here as well. We are going to eat the humble pie. We are men of our word. We take our beatings well, except Botty. So our panel is backed by special demand, is Damian Stack of the Kerry newspaper, alongside him as freelance journalist and a Wicklow podman. Who's this for?
I think you need a diet.
He's fairly tight with the humble pie. Unless he's giving me the rest of the cake.
I have a strong feeling.
Oh, you want more? Okay.
I do,
fair
I'm
enough,
not very
okay.
humble, so I need a big slice of it.
Fair enough.
Okay, I
more
humbly
lazing and
acknowledge.
blazing in your
I'll
mouth.
give you 2 slices, Somert.
And we have John O'Dowd of the Kerry. We also have from the Falta Bar, and hotel, which he's advertising with a sponsored top. That's Niall O'Callaghan. You're the manager there now, are you?
No, my mother's 90. She's still at it.
She's still at it. A year younger than me, is it?
You went to the Debs together.
So that's Niall O'Callaghan.
There you go.
He's ex-Dr. Crokes.
I'll need more slice.
And finally, we have a man.
Mort, I think Damian's from the famine. Look at the size.
We must be keeping half the pie for Ed Lee.
I know I'm an Ozempic, but you're really taking the mick now. Like.
Go on, so more for everyone.
Hang on a second. I gave the knife to the wrong man. And you've knifed so many people in your column this week. I thought you'd be good with the knife.
John Kennedy needs another piece. Give John Kennedy another piece there.
Give John Kennedy another piece.
Yeah, give him one more piece there, Damian. And
John
then leave.
has 3 All-Ireland medals with Kerry.
3 All-Ireland medals and 2 slices of humble pie.
86. So he deserves 2 slices of humble pie. That's right, yeah. So that's John Kennedy. So we have John, Niall, and we have the other John, as well as, of course, Damian Stack. Now, so while they are trying to consume the pie.
Lovely apple pie.
I'll have to tell you what's happening here at the weekend, since I didn't write it down. So if anybody rings me in the meantime, hello, Mother? No, Mother won't be ringing me. It's been a long time. I have at Parker's Bar and Venue. Now they're wishing actually the very best of luck to Niamh Quinn, Wayne Murphy, Niamh Carmody, Danielle O'Leary, and the Cleve Evans bit I don't get. She's from Kiel, but she must have a boyfriend out here, has she? And they are all playing with Kerry, with the ladies on Sunday. So we wish them all the best, the Kerry ladies. And if we have 5 minutes at the end, which is doubtful, we will refer to that game. And we wish them all the best, and we hope that they go one better than the men and beat Galway in that All-Ireland final, which is on it. I think it's, is it 4:15?
4:15 on
4:15 on Sunday. Now, lads, that you're all, I can eat while you're talking. Now that you're, have you your humble pie yet?
I have 1 slice eaten. I'm going to wait when you start talking again. I'll eat the other one because
All right,
I'll be able to digest it better.
Carol McMahon was telling me today, because of the Ozempic, that you can't even win at golf now. He took €30 or €20 off.
I actually cut my handicap to play him today, Mort.
Did you?
Yeah, and I wanted to make him feel good because his daughter Leah's in the All-Ireland final and he had a lot of nerves, so that's why I gave him the victory.
Did you?
Generous to the core.
I can tell you,
Kerry were very generous this week.
Carol tells a very different story about that. He talks about your shank at the 17th. Which hit a nun who was looking.
She shouldn't have been on the course.
Well, we're not.
She shouldn't have been there, like.
We're none the wiser. It's a bad habit. Anyway, lads, what happened? What happened on Sunday? Briefly first, Damian, you're a fountain of knowledge.
The long and the short of it, Mayo were comfortably the better team. They were, I would say, 10 times the better team than us. They had all the energy. We were absolutely stuck to the ground for most of the match. I know we had that brilliant start, but I think it was a little bit of a chimera. I don't think it really reflected where the game was going. No, to be fair, and we've discussed this off air, the fact that we were 7 points up and we had a few chances that really could have buried Mayo, and we could have won the match, to be fair. But I don't think we genuinely deserved to win that game of football. Mayo were the better team, simple as that.
I think you'd have to say that chickens came home to roost for us on
Not too early for chickens.
Sunday. The signs were there pretty much all season, against Donegal especially, and even in the victories against Tyrone and Dublin, that we were trying to get the best out of too many undercooked players, and we will go in later on to the reasons behind that. But we had 10 or 12 players chasing their tail, Mort, from start to finish between league and championship. Some of them got there in the end, none more so than Paddy Clifford, who was absolutely magnificent. And what I would say is that this is the second final that we've lost in the last 4 seasons, where if every player had given what Paddy Clifford gave to the cause on the particular day, the results might have been turned around, because he seems to be a player that gets even better when the chips are down, as he showed against Dublin in 2023 as well. And what he did the last day, himself and his brother nearly single-handedly pulled us out of the fire. But as Damian says correctly, we didn't deserve to get pulled out of the fire, because Mayo were the better team. If we didn't have the Cliffords, we would have lost by 10 points.
Just on the Cliffords, I was, after the match, going through it, and I think they were involved in 115 out of 117 between the two of them.
Yeah.
Between assists and scores. Now,
Yeah.
though 2 of the assists were from Botty to David, so we call that 113. 113 out of 117 from one set of brothers, or involvement. We're wholly dependent on them. I mean, it's frightening. I mean, it's genuinely frightening that you can be that dependent on one set of brothers.
I think, Mark, just to finish before you go on to Niall, I think, like I was saying there, the signs have been there over several months, and especially in the victories over Tyrone and Dublin, that we probably needed to bring a little extra freshness into the starting 15. But I suppose because we won the games and because of winning the All-Ireland last year, Jack and the management did their best to resurrect the team of 25 into the team of 26 and gave them every opportunity to get back to the same levels. So in hindsight, you'd say that was probably a mistake, because if we had more young legs on the pitch from the start last Sunday, the Evan Looneys, the Armin Heinrichs, the Keith Evanses, the Tomas Kennedys, maybe it would have been the best thing against the ravenous hunger of Mayo.
We kind of learned the wrong lesson from last year, I think. In that last year, the injury crisis brought in Sean O'Brien, brought in Mark O'Shea, completely freshened the thing up. Whereas this year we had an injury crisis and we hung on doggedly to the notion that we can get these boys back. Instead of doing, like you say, bringing in your Armins, bringing in your Keiths. I think we learned the wrong lesson from last season.
Meanwhile, the host takes over from Damian, and he asks Niall.
Well, I give you the slice of pie.
He asks Niall, oh yeah, you were saving me. Because
You couldn't ask when you were eating the pie.
That's true, yeah.
That's true, yeah. Well, you'll eat humble pie yet. Niall, you went to Dublin on Sunday. Oh, by the way, you were talking about changes now. When I spoke about changes before the last 2 games, you and John Kennedy, and he all ridiculed me. I talked about the Pishog, about number 13 and 14. And once
Which
again,
turned out to be wrong.
I humbly acknowledge I was right. Yeah, I was right. 14,
very
you
humble.
were 14.
I know where I'd stick the pin, but
Yeah, very, very humble. Yes. But
You
Niall,
were right, maybe, that they changed David Clifford's number, but it was a waste of time.
Yeah, but I mean, they still didn't win the All-Ireland.
it's another
Yeah.
Pishog now.
Yeah, so it's another Pishog, you don't wear 14. So next year he's going to be wearing 15. Listen, Niall, bring some sanity back to this. You went to Dublin. You were so, before the game, you were so positive. You were going to come back down with the cup. Well, not you personally. Last time you came down with that, you lost it in 2014. But listen, what disappointed you about this? I mean, you have to be delighted that Mayo are celebrating today. A county that were without 75 years. Like, where's your charity gone?
No, Mort, I went to Dublin to watch my team win. I'm a sportsman like everybody else. I wanted Kerry to win. Kerry didn't win because it was a total and utter system failure. And the question will have to be, why was it a failure? Why did we lose to that Mayo team? Because if we were playing Mayo tomorrow morning, again, I would say we'd win. And I really wish Mayo the best luck, because I'm an utter sportsman and I love watching every sport and I enjoy it.
You follow leads.
But I don't enjoy losing. I don't enjoy it. And if you're a person who enjoys losing, it's not for me. Like, I understand we lost the game, and congratulations to Mayo, and enjoy it, and they deserve it, 75 years and everything. But I came home and I was, and I talk a lot, I was silent. I'm still fuming.
You were silent?
Yeah, I'm still angry. I'm still wondering. I'm angry. How do we go to Dublin and lose that game?
The press.
And everything at the moment is,
we couldn't have known that
well
Mayo would
done
have
to
pressed
Mayo.
us.
Congratulations to Mayo. We talked about the press here
we
last
did
week.
know. We were
Mark.
talking about it for.
So I'm coming. Yeah, I know, but we're coming down the road after losing All Ireland and saying congratulations to Mayo, and isn't it great for Mayo? And I totally agree with all that sentiment. But at the end of the day,
We lost.
and you made a very valid point earlier on that we still had a kick to get an equaliser with 2 minutes to go in the game with how bad we played. But to me, it was a total system failure, and I'm so disappointed for the management, so disappointed for the players, the whole thing, the county board, and all the hard work they do. But I'm disappointed for the fans too, because this was definitely one that totally got away. And I don't mind saying that. That's my opinion.
Yeah.
It might mean nothing
That
to anybody.
third
But
Did we
I'm
completely lose the run of
devastated.
ourselves now? I mean, we somebody, Tomas J, who's potentially the next Kerry manager after Jack, saying a month out from the All-Ireland final, it's Kerry's to lose. And even as the evidence built up, we struggled against Tyrone, we struggled against Dublin, and instead of thinking, oh geez, maybe we're not as good as we think we are, we all kind of
Double down on it.
we thought the
Damien,
opposite. We used the evidence to prove our original thesis rather than believing the evidence of our eyes.
In agreeing with Tomas, I felt that the same. It's Kerry's to lose. But it was Kerry's to lose because Kerry lost it, because they didn't show up. If they had shown up in that game the last day.
John Kennedy, a man who wore the jersey and didn't lose in Croke Park, I don't think with the seniors anyway. I don't know what your minor success rate was. I didn't think it was great. But anyway, tell me about.
Look, it's more of the same.
Your disappointment.
It's hugely disappointing, do you know. But I said here last week, this was a different Mayo setup. I thought Andy Moran, after the semi-final, he put down a marker for supporters and for players. That he asked the media, why wouldn't the supporters enjoy themselves? And then he asked the media, who here thinks we will beat Dublin or Kerry? Mm-hmm. And nobody was there to say they'd win it. So what did that do? That took the pressure totally off. This was a Mayo team. We spoke about the young lads. You can look at it two ways. You can go out and play with a bit of abandon and enjoy the occasion and play to your potential, or you can fake up on the day. And they didn't do that. The injuries have come back to haunt us, and it's something that have to be looked at. Jack has been talking about it all the year. Whatever the cause is, we had a number of players injured. Damian said a while ago about the two Cliffords, and he's spot on. Shawnee Shea was on fire last year. He's injured all the year, and he's not right.
Gavin White's another
Gavin
guy.
White is another one. And
Our speedster.
we can Dermot O'Connor getting injured, Tony Brosnan. These guys, you need everybody. And you need to win any game in a final, you need 12 or 13 players playing well and a couple playing exceptional. We probably had 3 or 4 players the last day playing to their potential.
Damien, I reckon we were flat, we lacked the pace of Mayo, and we could not escape the Mayo press. They did the Tyrone on us. They absolutely dogged us. They went around us. Paul Murphy couldn't get out. Casey couldn't get her out. Everywhere we went, they were there in droves. They absolutely surrounded us and wouldn't leave us get up. We didn't do the same to them, mind you. Where did you see that? Did you think that was one of the reasons, the absolute ferocious tackling of the Mayo players?
I mean, it was a combination of that they were just absolutely, like you say, ferocious, manic, the intensity they brought to it. And then you contrast that with what we brought to it, and it was nowhere near it. So under those circumstances, then you're on a hiding to nothing. There was a few occasions when early on when we broke the press and we kicked the ball. I think it was one, it ended up in a Botty, or no, it was
A David point.
A David point.
Yeah.
I think we only did that maybe once or twice in the game.
Yeah, there was another one.
It was
that
ponderous. It was very ponderous what we were trying
the
to
ball
do.
was sent directly up to David, and he crossed it for Shawnee, who was kind of in and go, but there was a man with him, and he turned and put it over the bar. But that was another good move. Sorry.
No, you're fine. But we just seemed utterly unprepared for it. I mean, I'm sure they would have talked about it, and they would have expected it. And yes, it didn't feel like we had a huge plan for what to do with it. There was a couple of times in the first half where Paul Murphy was totally left isolated. Yeah. I know he didn't have one of his better games, and he come in for a bit of criticism, but like he was hung out to dry a bit in that first half.
Yeah.
There was a couple of times he got frees out,
and fortunate to get them.
Exactly that, but I don't know. There was just a flatness to Kerry, and that flatness, and they were stale. They were stale all year, and as much as you can be given out and saying, was it club championships and were they tired and was it this and was it that? The opportunity was there for the management team to freshen that team up. How many times does I remember speaking to Damian Murphy 1 year after Kerry won the All-Ireland. You've heard Brian Cody talking about it over the years. Jim Gavin talking about it over the years. To do back-to-back, you have to change it up. Instead of changing it up, we double down.
Yeah. Niall, before I come to you on the point of... Niall, what about, the 2 weeks in between when we met Jack in the Europe in Killarney, he was saying, that he feels now that the lads, or he didn't say that they were jumping out their skin, but, the 2 weeks break would do them good, would improve the lads who had been carrying injuries, and he expected a kind of a brighter, more vibrant Kerry team last Sunday against Mayo. And instead of that, we had an AVB game, I think, on the Saturday, and we lost Tony Brosnan, a good impact player, although he had been brought on the previous week. But certainly, if he was brought on last Sunday, you'd imagine there might be a 2-pointer in him, and that's not being not because he's a Crokesman, because I think you're changing clubs. And then we lost Diarmuid O'Connor, and I think Diarmuid O'Connor was a huge loss. I'm not saying it because he's a great player, but he hadn't been playing as well as he could all year, but still at all a big man. He was a big loss. So we lost 2 players, and you can't blame the clubs for this. This was 2 players we lost ourselves in-house training or warming up or whatever it is for 2 weeks, when you'd imagine they should be taking it handy, discussing tactics, a few kick-arounds. What do you think?
And I suppose a lot of what Damian's talking about there, and the energy and the excitement that Mayo brought to the game, it was because Mayo came with this just manic, we're going to play. And we came with this in a shell, we're going to walk it down, we're going to be nice and precise, we're going to do this, even though David Clifford had 40 yards of space with one guy marking him, no one in front of him, and you're saying, I live and die with David Clifford. Kick it in, just kick it in. Doesn't have to be the perfect ball, John.
Yeah.
It can just kick it in.
And it doesn't have to work every time.
It doesn't have to work every time, but
And
you
that's
keep
what, and that's
everybody
exactly
honest,
what,
Damian.
if it was any more, and he'd be with the 2 pointers. It didn't have to work every
No,
time.
it didn't have to work every time.
He only scored 4 out of 14.
Yeah,
I do think you're talking about the injuries and everything. I still think there was a total system failure on Sunday, and somebody needs to understand why, and somebody needs to understand, can we rectify that, and can it happen again? To me, it can be rectified, but I suppose
Too many cooks, no?
there's loads, because you can point fingers at everyone. You can point fingers at fitness. You can point fingers at whatever you want, the style of play, everything. But it still boils down to the fact that we lost in All Ireland that we should have won, and no one can make any excuses for the total system failure that we had. How do we rectify it? That's the question going forward. There's no point talking about the past. What happens going forward with this team? Because you're right, and you're right. Like, Mayo were tackling, and they were. I mean, I can't remember a time other than, and I'm not because he's my own club man, but Evan Looney had a tackle near the end of the game down the corner. I can't remember a tackle in the game by a Kerry player.
Yeah. Even go back to the Dublin game, we sat in.
Yeah.
It was this, like you say, passive. Very passive.
Yeah.
And when you've a bunch of footballers as good as we think we have, and last year proved that we have, why don't you back them to play football more than
there
more
was
than
there was 2 instances, what I think. Ryan O'Donoghue for the goal. He went through 3 or 4 tackles. There was no hand laid.
There was no tackle.
Dara Bunn, he went through and he kicked a point. There was a last gasp effort to block it. It was half blocked. But defensively and playing within the rules, those guys should have been hit hard coming through the middle, and they weren't. And I think it is down to that lack of energy. The Mayo were flying, and look at the 2 warm-ups. They were total chalk and cheese.
But John, in the modern game, and it's been proved, I think, this year, I don't have all the stats, but all I know is 2-pointers are absolutely crucial. And we didn't kick enough 2-pointers last Sunday. They kicked 4 from 14, which in another day, if we had won, Mayo would have been accused of their usual, not being able to score like they were in 04 and 06. And they'd been rounded by the critics and the pundits all over the country. Now they're superstars and fair play.
I think 2 things. Aidan O'Shea, Ryan O'Donoghue, on Sunday night, he was interviewed, and he said Aidan O'Shea asked him before the game, how many tackles can you get in?
Yeah.
He didn't ask him how many points you're going to score.
Yeah.
That was the mindset. How many tackles?
Yeah.
Their full forward line tackled us and put us under pressure.
Would that
And
be
stopped
Paddy
it-
Talley?
and
Paddy
stopped
Talley
it at
was with
source.
us.
And Paddy Talley.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Paddy Talley was in Kerry. He knows the inside out of Kerry.
Yeah.
And they swarmed the players and they took him on, and the tackle count was ferocious.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is, Mort, even with all of that we're talking about there now, we could have won the match in the first 20 minutes.
Yeah.
It could have been all over.
And we could have even done it in the last 10 minutes.
We went 1-5 to a point ahead without playing really well, and I think that was the biggest problem that it turned out to be for the rest of the game, because I won't use the word complacency or cockiness, or as some Dick Clerkin or someone tried to use, arrogance this week. I think it lulled us into a false sense of security that first 15 minutes, to go 7 up without playing well. Then we got unbelievably nonchalant over the next 10 minutes. Thomas Sullivan missed 2 kicks at the post, one for a 2-pointer, one for a 1-pointer. David Clifford kicked a 2-point free wide. Shawnee O'Shea kicked a 2-point free wide. And at the same time, they got a little bit of sustenance from a Jack Carney 2-pointer, followed by a Ryan O'Donoghue 2-pointer.
Yeah.
So after about 25 minutes or whatever it was 1-6 to 5 points, and they were back in the game when it could easily have been 1-11 to 3 points, and the game would have been over. But I think we didn't seem to think on the field that those wides, that carelessness,
That would cost us.
that it was going to cost us, because we felt like we were going to stroll through the
do it
game,
again.
because we had strolled through the first 15 minutes
Yeah, in fact,
without
John,
them laying a hand on us.
In fact, Shawnee O'Shea got a point in the 22nd minute to make it 1-6 to 3 points. And then O'Donoghue made it 5, Byrne from free made it 6, and Ryan O'Donoghue from free made it 7. So by the 30th minute, Tom Sullivan got his point in the 30th minute, and Sam
Why did we stop
replied
picking the ball?
1-7 to 8 points after half an hour. But like after 20 minutes, as you say, we were 6 points clear.
But then again, Mort, you have to go to the start of the second half as the third quarter as the real other reason why we lost the match. We got the last point before half-time from Joe O'Connor, a good score. He charged through a gap. It was kind of a little bit of a turning point again to put us ahead going into half-time. What did we do at the start of the second half? We came out and we did absolutely nothing in the first 15 minutes. We gave them complete, total oxygen of Dara Byrne getting that point when it could have been blocked down. Kobe MacDonald bursting into the game by kicking the 45, and then we gave them the goal, giving away the ball with a bad hand pass, missing 3 tackles, and then allowing Ryan O'Donoghue to charge up through the middle of the field and set up a goal. So the oxygen they would have got from their youngest players on the team getting those scores as well, they won the third quarter by 1-4 to 1 point. That was the winning of the match. Because I remember saying, I think it was in a WhatsApp group or something at halftime, it reminded me a lot of Armagh of 2002, when we should have buried that game in the first half. I think Owen Brosnan missed a goal chance maybe just before halftime, just went past the butt of the post, and we were 11-7 when it should have been 1-11 to 7, and I think it would have been the game over. And we only ended up scoring 3 points in the second half. Because I said, if Mayo were in the game entering the last 5 minutes, that the emotion of the 75 years and everything, the crowd, and it would drive them over the line like it did with Armagh in 2002. We had to have the game finished before the closing stages. But instead it was us trying to come back.
The timing of Tommy Conroy's entrance, he had a huge game. He went in the full forward line.
And Ryan O'Donoghue came out.
And Jason didn't follow him, or he wasn't told to follow him. Jason had been doing a great job on him inside. He's their danger man.
They were probably afraid that
he came out
if
as
they
a
were dragging
playmaker.
Jason out, they do wreck inside without Jason in
He
there.
came out as a playmaker, and he actually dictated the play, and Conroy gave us enough of trouble inside.
But did anyone pick up Ryan O'Donoghue man-to-man? Because I think we kind of played zonal further out the field, apart from our 3-on-3. So O'Donoghue kind of had the freedom of the park to dictate and do a Paddy Clifford type role that Paddy was doing for us.
And Damian, yet the 50th minute, we were 4 down. Paddy Clifford converted to the 45. Paddy Clifford from a David assist put over another point a minute later. And then we had David Clifford. He turned, remember, and just drove it over the top. It could have gone under the bar, over the bar. We were back to 2. And then Graham O'Sullivan, the 54th minute, brought back to 1. So in the space of 5 minutes, we went from 114 to 1-9. The 5 points was reduced, and it was 114 to 113. You'd imagine then that we should have kicked on.
Like, just Botty, we've already spoken about the Cliffords. Botty was absolutely. I think
He was awesome. He was the man of the match, probably.
I think he was the man. I mean, Ronnie
But
Donoghue,
the winners,
the winner takes it all, and fair play to him. And he had a brilliant game. I'm
Yeah.
not saying he didn't, but I just thought Botty was absolutely immense in that second half. Now, at that kind of period of the game, after Mayo had the real purple patch, and we had our little purple patch there, driven by Botty. It's like, we shouldn't have been within a throw of Mayo at that stage. Mayo had missed all round them. Mayo had
they were getting panicky.
Mayo's conversion rate was 53%. Now, they've won the All-Ireland final, and the winners write the history books, and no one's, there's been very little criticism of how Mayo played. But Mayo were in danger of doing a Mayo on it in that second half. With the dominance they had and the lack of composure. Kobe, absolutely brilliant, but he had 2 quite poor wides during that spell.
And one into the keeper.
And he had one of the keepers in that spell.
The Jordan Flynn missed goal chance when he flicked it onto the post.
That was later. That was about
but
62 or 63.
that could really have killed it.
Yeah. So, we could have gotten something out of that game. I don't think we deserved it. I think it would have been a travesty if Kerry had won that game. But
You heretic.
But it was. We were nowhere
Did
near
you
it.
put that down as one of your 5 topics?
I did put it as one. It would have been a travesty. Yeah,
Remind me not to buy your paper. Oh, I'm a subscriber.
You're a subscriber already. So, we could have snuck something out of that game. We didn't deserve it, but only for Botty absolutely, and you said it. It's the second final out of 4 or something like that Botty has absolutely just dragged Kerry into a position where they could have got something out of the game.
Niall, this is just something for you. Like we probably had, and he's been pretty much unbelievable nearly every year he plays. But in 8 championship matches this season, David Clifford scored 7 goals and 50 points. 737 of that from open play, only 13 from frees.
But
and we're not All Ireland champions after that. So, if you're David Clifford, are you saying to yourself, I can't do any more to get this team over the line if I don't get more of the ball as well? Which going back to your point of not kicking enough ball into him, he still scored 1-6 from play the last day.
He's awesome, absolutely awesome, and you live and die. It's a bit like basketball, Mort.
Yeah,
you've got your franchise players and you've got your role players, and you have your Michael Jordans and you have your Kobe Bryants. This guy is the goat.
Yeah.
This guy is a goat, and you're not giving him
Michael
the ball
Jordan.
enough.
Yeah,
and the style of play in, and you can say it's the modern game, and we walk
Paddy,
it down.
Scottie
and we set
Pippen,
up,
by the way.
And we said, Paddy he's better than Scottie Pippen.
Yeah.
But you're
the boys are completely lost.
The
by
style
the way.
of play, the style of play does not suit what we have. And I think you were saying about fitness and everything else, but the style of play, there was a pure system failure. But again, even if there wasn't and we were playing decent, we're still walking down the ball down the field, and we're doing the same thing every time. We run it down to David's corner and wait for David to come out and come off the loop every time. Just kick it in.
Be raised.
But kick it in.
But Niall, how can you have energy in a team when you're starting a guy who hasn't played since April? I mean, that's madness, surely.
Was he showing something in training?
I'm sure he was showing something, but still, you haven't played
Because Jack,
a game of football since April, and competitive.
See again.
John Kennedy, you were a half forward. If you were on the bench, if you were number 12, if Jim O'Connor was not started, if Jim O'Connor got injured and you were on the bench,
you'd never stopped him.
And they put and you were fit like Keith Evans, and you brought on Tom O'Sullivan, who hadn't played since April, to start, and put Graham O'Sullivan up there.
Yeah.
How would you be feeling as a defender?
As a
substitute.
It was a huge call. It was football's a funny game, and we can be critical. If we had won the All-Ireland and Tom Sullivan had kicked the 2 he missed for two pointers, we'd be saying what a master stroke by Jack.
Yeah.
But I'd go back and say we devastated our man Fitzgerald Stadium. This is the same team.
Yeah.
We had the same injuries.
Yeah.
Leading up to it.
We'd more at that stage.
We'd more at that stage. We played outstanding football. We left Fitzgerald Stadium saying, there's no team to touch us.
Yeah.
And then we went in against Tyrone and Dublin. We were slipping back.
Yeah.
But Damian O'Connor, another huge loss. And to answer Damian's question, he's a wing forward. He was an outlet. But he was a huge loss, and we don't realise how important players are
Until they're not
They're
there.
missing.
Yeah, it's like Jack Barry. He was never rated
Absolutely,
until
yeah.
he retired.
No. But look, it
By the Kerry
was one you live or die by the sword. And Tom just he look, obviously he must have been going well. The rumours are that he was going very well inside, and they had a 15v15, and he played well.
See, the thing is,
True or
Mort,
false, we don't know.
If he had put those 2 balls over and had scored 3 points,
he would have had 4 by half time if he kicks
half-time.
if he kicks them, and then you'd be saying he's in line for man the match.
Yeah.
And we forget as well that we made a decision to pick Tom O'Sullivan, but Mayo made the very same decision to pick their Diarmuid O'Connor, who hadn't basically
played
kicked
for-
the ball in the whole championship either.
Yeah.
Had been a total bit part player with injury, but his job was to stop Gavin White from going up the field, basically, to stop Gavin White from doing anything in the game. And Diarmuid O'Connor did his job for Mayo to perfection, because Gavin wasn't able to influence the game. So Mayo can say that they took a chance, and I'm sure their forwards, their Conor Loftuses and their players who were left off the team are probably saying, geez, why did Diarmuid O'Connor start ahead of us? Like, you can say that Keith Evans or whatever saying, why
And the
did
other
Tom
thing
O'Sullivan
is,
start
a
for
sentimental
Kerry?
manager would have given Aidan O'Shea 5 minutes.
Yes.
But because he'd so much service, but
there's
they
no-
needed to win the
It
game.
was
no
so tight
sentiment,
down
Mort.
the stretch.
There was no sentiment.
no,
they were just hanging on, so they couldn't afford to put
But
it in there.
Niall said that everyone involved, and like no one will take this defeat as badly as those that are inside there themselves, the management and the players. And they will look at it, did we start the right team? Did we bring on the right subs? Did we bring on the right subs at the right time? Did we take off the right players, or did we take off the wrong players? The one thing you have to say, and we still don't know the truth of this, and maybe it'll never come out in the wash, Paul Ganey was a player that you would look to get a goal, or to get a few points, or to get scores,
the ball.
or to field the ball when we needed scores
He did
in the
for
last
Dingle.
in the last 5 or 10 minutes. Right, Paul Ganey was named in the 26. He was number 20. He went up for the toss. He said in that press conference the week before, Mort, you were there, that he was fit to play.
Yes. So
Paul-
we have to presume he was fit.
Paul Ganey was not used at all on Sunday. And you have to look at it coldly from the outside and say that if he was 100% fit, he had to be on the pitch at some stage of that game, because he's the man with the history, the experience, the tradition of pulling games out of the fire, of getting a goal when you least expect it,
He's your go-to man
of,
at the end. Yeah.
of dovetailing with David Clifford or Tomas Kennedy or whoever it was. So
Yeah,
you have to, like,
Would you agree,
But
Niall?
you've made the
For
point.
me, Paul is a friend, a very good friend. But to know
All
what
right,
he is-
you name dropping now.
No, but I'm saying he's had a wonderful season with Dingle. They
You
won
both
the All Ireland
pub
Club.
owners,
He
you know.
dragged them over the line.
Yeah.
He dragged them over the line.
Yeah, he kicked the possible
He
point.
was on the bench last day. For me, if he's sitting on the bench, Paul Ganey plays.
Yes.
End of.
John had him started last week.
Well, I'll be honest with you, Mort. If we had known that Diarmuid O'Connor was out injured, Paul Ganey should have stopped, in my book.
In your book.
He was the captain of the team.
Yeah.
You said it last week.
Yeah, he's a go-to player.
Yeah.
He take the pressure off of the others.
Yeah.
And
He's a leader.
get 15 minutes out of him.
Yeah.
And go up and pick up the
Do you
puck
remember
afterwards.
Do you remember what
Simple.
he did below on Parky Queeve? He came on at half time
Yes.
in that game against the Dublin.
Ballyboden St.
Ballyboden.
Enda's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he played 30 minutes.
He was injured.
50 minutes, and they were like, they couldn't believe it. So he's that kind of character,
Yeah.
you know?
He scored
yeah,
8
because-
points that day, carrying an injury.
Paul
Yeah.
Ganey's a winner.
He can kick 2-pointers, points, he can score goals, and that's what we needed at the end.
So you have to say, Mort,
Yeah.
if he was fit to play and he never played at any stage in the game, that is a mistake.
It is.
We have to say it fairly.
We
If
have
he
to
wasn't
call
fit
it.
to play, why was he on the bench?
And there's your other question.
Yeah, we have to call it as it is. Now, lads, you're reasonable men, you're knowledgeable men, most of you. Looking at one or two
Except
of you.
me, go on anyway. I'll eat more pie in a minute.
No, you're grand. That's for Eden, Leahy, when he comes in. No, it has to be half, by the way. He can't eat. The rest of us eat just little tiny bits. But listen, can we help Jack O'Connor if he's the manager next year? Jack has, on 4 or 5 different occasions, without even being asked, has mentioned about it's the club football, it's the competitions, it's too many players getting injured, not having them. He wants them for the month of November to do nothing. Non-contact, the GPA does as well, by the way. They come back in December and they train, and then we play in that very important competition called the McGrath Cup. You know that one? The Master McGrath Cup.
Is it being played next year?
It is, I think, one more year anyway.
Okay.
So basically, John O'Dowd, you're a man of many stats and facts and figures. Tell me, do we need less competitions? Do we need to get rid of the districts? And we'll have a general discussion then about the county championship, trying to get rid of Crokes. Club championship, we'll try and get rid of Crokes. So what do we do to try and make it easier? Because let's be honest, before you start, I'm of the opinion that something has to give, and I'm not saying that players shouldn't play in the district championship, but I'm of the opinion that we're flogging both our inter-county players and our club players to death. Because once they start next week in the club championship, for the successful clubs like the Crokes and the Dingles and the Kenmare Shamrocks, etc., they probably will be going full blast until sometime in October, the championship, second or third round of the championship, third round of October. Week after week after week with no rest. When are they supposed to get married? When are they supposed to have a rest, a holiday? You gang are gone on holiday this week?
Crokes boys are gone on holiday
tomorrow.
The Crokes boys are gone for
holiday.
7 days
So
now.
John, you go through your stats.
I suppose the first point on the district championship is that
They're unnecessary.
I disagree.
I won't say that because they are the biggest deal to their respective areas of the county and have been there for a long, long time. But I can see where Jack is coming from in part of it, but I can also see the opposite side of it. So the reality then, you dig down and you look at the facts of the situation to inform us properly. So we go back to the 2025 district championships after we won the All-Ireland last year, and we played a club championship and a county championship. And maybe the big discussion is the club championship and the county championship, and a week between the finish of one and the start of the other. Is that a much bigger issue than the district championships? I would say that it is. Because some players already themselves have made the decision not to play district championship. Some probably have the decision forced upon them by injuries already. There are some teams and players who don't take part in any district championships either.
No.
So last year, the reality is that of the 26 players that were named to line out in the All-Ireland final at the weekend, which includes Diarmuid O'Connor, only 11 of that 26 played district championship last year.
Less than half.
Less than half. 15 of them played no district board championship at the end of last season. The 11 players who did, roughly, quickly, Shane Murphy, Jason Foley, Mike Breen, Gavin White, Mark O'Shea, Sean O'Brien, Keith Evans, Evan Looney, Breen O'Boigley, Micheál Burns and Shane Ryan. If you want to add a 12th, you can say Tony Brosnan. He would have been in the 26 last week. And I think if you want to add in Killian Trant, who ended up in the 26, he probably did play, I think, for St. Sinnans in the North Kerry Championship. So that's 13 players. So 15 didn't play any district championships at all. Some, because like Temple No, Tyg Morley and Killian
They don't have a championship.
They don't have a district championship to play in. There was no Tralee St. Brendan's Board championship played last year.
So that ruled out Stacks, Nagale.
That ruled out Stacks,
Dylan,
Nagale, Tomas
Diarmuid,
Kendi of Cairns
Kenny.
O'Rahilly's, etc.,
Yeah,
etc. And then there were other players who just didn't play anyway. Graham O'Sullivan was injured pretty much after the All-Ireland, didn't play club or county championship or district championship. Sean O'Shea didn't play for Kenmare in the district championship. The Dingle lads were preoccupied with Munster, so they didn't play any West Kerry championship. The Cliffords didn't play for Fossa in the East Kerry championship.
Crokes were chasing them, I think.
Like we go back to all the Stacks boys were missing. They didn't have a championship to play. So there you look at it in the cold light of day. 11 as against 15. So that would say that Jack is half right about the district board championships. And Gavin White did get injured in the district board championship. Mark O'Shea did get injured in the final of the O'Donoghue Cup. But none of the rest of the players did. Some players got injured in the county championship, like Paul Murphy. Yeah. We can't hit in the semi-final against Austin Stacks. We're not going to stop lads playing county championship or club championship. I would suggest that that's an impossibility. But then we also have to ask, how many players got injured during the Kerry inter-county season? That has nothing to do with the clubs. The clubs don't have these players since when? The end of November.
Yeah.
So they don't have them. We lost
Until the end
2
of July.
players in the build-up to the final.
Yeah.
How many players did we lose on the pre-championship camp to
Camp.
Portugal who came back and we didn't have them for the Clare game, for the first game in the championship? So it's not a one-size-fits-all situation, and inter-county is good and club is bad. There's a balance to be got. I think it has to be done on an individual basis, and you look at different players and their workloads and who needs a break and who needs more football. Maybe some players need more football. Maybe some players need more club football because they're not playing enough, Mort.
But the one thing to remember is, and I have it here in this calendar, which is at the start of the year, and all, you have the inter-county and you have the club and you have the hurling, which doesn't matter really, but we throw it in there anyway. And we
I
have,
didn't say that, didn't you?
No.
we have the whole lot here, and there is only a 15-16 week window. The All-Ireland final is on here, the 2nd of August, right up here to the end of the districts around the 22nd. Now, there were 3 weeks here down for County League in July, and it was over on the 5th of July, so I don't know what we were doing on the 12th, on the 19th, and on the 26th. We were doing interviews. My point is, there is a calendar which a secretary and a CCC have to make out the fixtures, and there are interconnections between different. For example, the hurling championship, because of the dual clubs, is played in June and July, and the hurling clubs and some hurling people would say that's wrong. It should be played every second week, like it's in other counties. Is there a case, rather than getting rid of a particular championship, of changing the formats, of having knockout competitions? Because we'll have to be very careful, lads, that players play with their clubs. We don't want the Munster situation where players belong to the county. The only person in the county that has authority over players, would you believe it, is the chairman. Jack doesn't have it. He can't stop a player, or anybody, or Tomas or Cher, anyone, can't technically stop a player from playing with his club. But the chairman can.
Can I just be the devil's advocate with this whole conversation, if you don't mind me saying?
Okay, go
Right?
on.
I come from the Dr. Crokes, as you know, a very successful team over a period of 10 years.
Absolutely.
Great coaches in the Pache and everyone else that's been involved in the club. John Galvin, Edmund is there now, Brian.
Great video analyst.
We have,
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
we have JC,
Yeah.
he understands.
He's not
But
great.
this idea of we need to change this and we have to be careful with this. I'm sorry, Mort, I don't agree, and I'll tell you why. I was involved as a kit man with the Kerry team. We finished the National League.
It's your
and we-
second week saying that.
But, yeah, but sure, I got the bullet as well, but we both agree there. But I was involved, and when the National League finished, Kerry were training for nearly 12 or 15 weeks before their next game. Right? The Crokes would go out and play after the championship. Colm Cooper never missed a game for the Crokes, unless the time he got badly injured. Never missed a game. Never complained. Never went back injured. Never went saying, "Oh, I'm tired." Never, because you know why? When you're winning games, you get injury. You get energy.
Yeah.
You love playing games. You want to play games. But this, see, it goes back to this sports science of load.
Yeah.
And I know what that is, a load of, right? For
Yeah.
me,
Yeah.
fellas want to play the game of football.
You wouldn't be into sports science, so would you?
No.
Have you degrees in it?
Mort, do you know how I'd put it into the fridge? Because
Yeah.
young fellas go out there kicking ball every day, and all they want to do is play ball. All they want to do. And if you ask a professional athlete, what you want to do? I want to run. I want to play soccer. I don't want to train.
Yeah.
They want to play games. So this idea, and Mort, we had a perfect system before, and we changed it. And do you know what we said? We were doing it because we wanted to look after the players. But what happens now with the system is, at the end of May, half the country goes off over to America and everywhere else they play their football. And they come back then after playing all there, and they take weeks to get ready for the club championship, and they only arrive in the Tuesday night before the club championship and start playing. And then, we have no breaks. But and this, I'd be shocked by the Players Association. What was wrong with the old system? What was wrong with playing a club championship in April?
I can add a player for you to Colm Cooper. I was back on a very wet and windy day. You wouldn't put even me out, and I know you don't like me, in this weather.
I'd put you
because
out.
because I got completely wet. Even my hair got wet, right? And it was Ungailteach Dingle in the West Kerry final. And Paul Ganey was playing. Now, I asked Paul, he won his 12th West Kerry medal or something like that. And I said to him, what are you doing here? Because he had just come back from Kerry, he'd been playing with Kerry. This was in December now, and it was cold, it was wet, etc. And he said, look, Mort, I started with the club, I love my club, I will never not play with my club. Similar to what you were talking about. Yeah. Paul Ganey is clubman first, and then an inter-county man. I would say, not putting words into his mouth, but he's something like that. There are a number of other lads as well. But then there are other guys who don't have the same affinity with their clubs maybe, because they may not feel safe in their position. So if a county manager or a coach from the inter-county setup says, listen, you got to go for operation. If you want to make Kerry next year, you got to go for an operation for that shoulder or that hamstring or whatever, and he has to go in the off season for the inter-county, which is the season, it's the split season, it's for the club, and he has to go then and have that operation, we'll say, in September or October, so then he can finish the club championship or play in the county championship with his team. That's happening. Is that right? Am I over egging it?
I think you're over egging it. Sorry, Mort. And I'm not trying to be controversial here, but there is a situation, where if a fella actually needs to have a surgery or have a medical condition, yes, get it done. But there's no way a fella doesn't want to play with the club and his friends. And this idea of we need to look after fellas, I actually think we're taking it to the wrong extreme. I think we need to just let people play.
Would you even play basketball as well?
Come here. I don't care what they play. And with young fellas that we coach in the Crokes, the first thing we say to every kid, back yourself. So if you're going to go and play with your club and you're going to back yourself, that if a certain manager says you can't play, you shouldn't play, he's going to, if you play well in the club championship, he's going to bring you back in. So back yourself.
Yeah. Jason O'Connor reckon they should be all playing pitch and putt.
But you have to say, Mort, I think it's something, the Kerry management will have to look and do an analysis on the injuries. Where they came from, how many came from the clubs, the workload. Is it you're playing so many championship games on consecutive weeks? Is that an issue? It's great to say it's a condensed season and the players love it because there's no training, but you're up in Kildare, you're down and you're playing Tyrone, you're playing Dublin. Like, these are intense games.
How many players are we from North Kerry? Is it Eddie and Jason?
Eddie and Jason.
That's all, yeah.
Killian.
And Killian.
And Evan, I suppose, will be in at some stage. But
like we'll have no inter-county game, Mort, until next January now, the end of January.
Yeah.
There's a huge break.
Yeah.
But a lot of these players will go away and they'll recover if they're not right. But are they going to play through injury? Is it the workload that they have? And if there's niggles, shouldn't they get them right?
Yeah.
But I think that there's two situations here. There's an inter-county setup and there's a club setup.
Yeah.
You have 35 players inside with the county. Yeah. How many hundreds have you outside in the clubs?
Yeah, they're only
and
5%.
Are you going to,
hundreds?
Yes. Are you going to say, I don't care what level it is, and people will say some guys shouldn't be playing and having the team and all that, carry on. But I think what you say is that these guys want to play at their level. Whatever level that is, giving them the opportunity. Like the club players, like you said, and you're dead right. When the championship starts, it goes straight through. There's no such thing as a weekend for a stag party, no such thing as if there's a funeral, unless there's a direct, you can't get the game off now.
Yeah. And you can't, if you're an inter-county player, and I'm serious about this, you can't really get married until Christmas. No. Am I right?
But it's something to be looked at, and I don't think that we can.
And I hate Christmas weddings.
We can actually crucify the club player because of the inter-county season. I don't think so. And I think this system in Kerry, you brought up a fixture schedule there.
Yeah.
There's a huge effort going into that by the county board. And great credit to them. When I was over in Clare and people in Limerick, we had the envy of those counties with the number of games we're giving our club players.
But can I just make one point, right?
Oh, good.
No, it's like,
oh, God.
no, it's like every time Jack brought it up, there was little thing dinging in my head. It's like, we've won everything.
Your brain.
We've won everything in the last 12 months.
Yeah.
We've won. Okay, we didn't win the Hogan Cup, but we've got the Hogan Cup finals. We've gotten to minor quarterfinals and semi-finals. We've won an under 20. We've won an Ireland senior football.
We've won
won
3 clubs.
We've won 3 clubs, and we were within 2 kicks by David and Shawnee of extra
Back-to-back
time
All-Irelands.
on back-to-back All-Irelands.
How do we do in the
How
Christie
bad?
Ring?
How bad is the system? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
How much damage is it doing? You know.
There's nothing wrong with the system. But the O'Donoghue Cup is a big deal in our area. The North Kerry Championship is a big
massive.
deal in your area. And this idea of just stop, people overthink things. Let's just let people play the game of football and just enjoy it, and let them go out and enjoy the game without any pressures.
Yeah.
Because that's what we're doing right now. We're saying load. Please step away and just let people enjoy
You're not
the
a
game.
scientist.
And Mort,
But Botty, why is it the conversation when it comes around to this? Why is it always where the load issue is being placed
On the
by
clubs.
Jack on the clubs? The clubs have them for 4 months.
well,
Jack has them for 8 months.
Damien.
Surely it's more of Jack's responsibility to manage their loads than their club
well, I
managers.
put it this
You'll
way.
never
and I
get an
challenge-
interview from Jack.
Well, yeah, I'll be honest. And Edmund
any intercounty
Edmund
manager.
O'Sullivan is manager of the Crokes right now, and his back room is second to none. I actually rate the Crokes and their back room as every bit as good as an inter-county setup. Not as big because they're functional and they move and everything is right. I would challenge anyone. I would think most clubs, when it comes to championship, are on the ball as much as they can be. And this idea of going back to their clubs and they're not looked after. Yes, they are.
Yeah.
They are.
I know the Stacks are looked after, looked
Stacks
after.
are a great setup.
They're excellent.
The Rallies are a great setup.
No,
They're
they have a
always
good
out,
setup.
even with you.
Diamonds.
When you come to championship, you're going to get everything right. You're going to have your medical right. You're going to have everything right because you want your players.
The
to play.
reality, Mort, is that some players do get injured playing with their clubs.
Yeah.
But some players do get injured playing with Kerry as well.
Yeah.
Some players do get injured training with Kerry
training
as
camps.
well, or on training camps.
Yeah.
It's going to happen.
Yeah.
Players get injured.
players,
there's not one sole reason behind why some players were undercooked this year and why others weren't. Some were lucky, they got through the season with no injuries. Some were chasing their tail for the whole year because of an injury they got with Kerry or an injury they got with their club. That's reality, that's life, that's sport.
But are we looking, Mort, that we're going to go down the rugby route, like Munster Rugby?
Exactly.
Is that the option?
No.
Because every county manager and every club manager wants the best from his own.
Yes, of course.
That's-
And you can't
that's-
blame Jack.
That's a given.
Yeah.
If we were in Jack's
Why are you
position...
giving out to me?
No, but if we were in Jack's position, we'd
We'd
that
want the
too.
same.
But if he wants the players
Yeah.
and he wants to manage the load, and when Jack goes, whoever else comes in, you say, you pick...
Oh,
your
you're getting
top-
rid of Jack
No,
now?
but I'm not, no,
Oh,
I'm
right,
not.
yeah.
Jack
Yeah.
has been very successful, and we are not going to jump in his grave because they were beaten. We were
Yeah.
a kick of a ball away from
Yeah.
beating Mayo.
Yeah.
Let's not
He's
forget
not dead,
that
by
now.
the way.
No.
But in all fairness, this is not about Jack. This is the bigger picture.
Yeah.
And are we looking, going down, that we are picking a squad and they're gone away, they don't go near their clubs, we set up our club season away from the county players and get on with it.
And that's the finish. That's the finish of club football.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That you end up like the All Ireland League situation in rugby, where nobody cares about it anymore. Imagine we go back 20 years, 30 years. Shannon versus Gary Owen, Shannon versus Cork Con. They were as big as anything to do with Munster and Leinster and Connacht and Ulster. Now nobody cares about them because the local player is not playing for their local club and they never see him anymore. And there's no way that the GA can ever go down that road because number one, Munster, Leinster, Ulster, Connacht are professional entities. The Kerry team might be professional in the way it approaches things, and it obviously has to be, but it still isn't professional. The players are not paid a salary to play for Kerry to the exclusion of their clubs. So while that is the case, and it will probably stay the case forever in the GA, because that's what the principle of what the
When
association
Mick
is
Galway
built
was
on.
playing with Shannon, we all went down to see him playing in a Munster Cup below in Thomond Park.
Yeah.
The place was full.
Yeah.
Now we don't know Shannon are even playing.
Exactly.
Can I just bring it
Mickey
one
Hart-
point to bring it back to
Mickey
the All
Hart-
Ireland final?
Mickey Hart,
Sorry, go
sorry,
ahead.
Damian.
No, go ahead.
But Mickey Hart, when they were going well, when Tyrone were going well, he never stopped their players. There was fellas getting injured before games because they were playing championship with their
They were
club.
playing County League.
They were playing county league.
And
they were
it's
allowed to
they
play.
use a knockout 16 team.
Sorry, Damian.
No, you're fine,
Championship
you're fine.
over
But you'd have to say
Can
about
I
it.
take it?
Can I
have
just
to
ask
say though.
just make one point, or one
It's
question?
your third time making 1 point.
One point. You invited me back, so here I am.
All right, and you're very
You
welcome.
tell him,
Yeah.
Damian.
Yeah.
But no, like, you know, there's the idea that Kerry were stale. they were flat. They were lacking energy. I don't know how much of that you can put down to the fact that we have 3 club championships in Kerry. But what the management team had within their control was they could have freshened that team up, and they didn't. That's on them. That's not on the club. We saw Tomas Kennedy to start the season, and we thought, oh, there, he's going to be the new thing. He's going to be the different thing. We didn't see. He got injured, to be fair, but he didn't re-emerge really. And even when he did emerge the last day, he was brought on as kind of an auxiliary midfielder to win a few balls around the middle. He wasn't put in up top.
Can I take it, lads? I need to stop it. No, can I take it so that you would be, all the 4 of you would be in favour of the status quo of remaining with the competitions that we have, and if players are not fit for that and they have to go for surgery, whatever, let it be. Let them go for the surgery, etc. But the players who can play, let them play. Let as many who can play football play and get the divisions maybe over middle of November if they can. Give the lads a couple of weeks break and they're back then in with Kerry. That's the only way we can.
Well, you can see there.
It served Kerry well over the last 20, 25, 30, 40 years. So why should we change it?
Yeah, you can see.
Be it?
No, it's not quite right, because what we have now is not what we used to have. Because we have group phases and there's a lot more games.
But
to be
from
fair,
2004, 2005, when we had the Croke Park element introduced by Sean Kelly, I think we can compare it from then.
I'd say the group phase only came in the last.
At least
16.
At least the big thing that they've done in the last couple of seasons was get rid of the group phase in the county championship.
Yeah.
Because it was horrendously reckless
and also
to go from a group stage of the club championship into a group stage of a county championship. That definitely was overkill.
Would you still have 2 coming out the group in the club and a quarter final?
I think the quarter final it serves a purpose in that it gets rid of the dead rubber, but it's an extra round.
It is an extra round. Maybe you could get rid of it. Maybe you could just go.
That's up to the clubs now.
The clubs are totally against getting rid of it.
But I think what you look at it, mentioned Mickey Hart there a minute ago. There's 1 championship in Tyrone, 1 senior club championship.
That's all, yeah.
Down here we have the club, senior, we have the county championship, then you have intermediate. Huge thing.
Well, they have intermediate up there as well.
But they have
no districts.
The significance here is
we need to get rid of East Kerry, South Kerry, Mid Kerry, and North Kerry.
But the significance here,
but don't Tyrone? A lot of their players play the county league, Mort.
But Mort,
the significance here, Mort, is that if whoever comes out of Kerry at intermediate and junior premier, they're knock on to win All Ireland.
Yeah.
That's you can't say that in other counties.
But John made a point earlier on. He's right. You have to. The GA has to service all players.
Yeah.
So if you're, I know you're
They
messing
need
and you're
5.
hopping ball.
Yeah.
Get rid of the divisional championships. But all these players that are at their clubs that are not involved in an inter-county team have been training since January.
Yeah.
And they want to play football.
Yeah.
And they played their county league and it finished in June.
July the 5th.
July the 5th.
Yeah.
And they just want to play football. And you're turning around and you're saying get rid of something. But if you get rid of it, your football's over in October.
They want to play football with their best players now.
Yeah, of course they do.
But
take the Crokes, for example. We survived relegation because we were missing so many players in Division 1 of the County League.
And he found a few players.
But you know what it did? It did. Yeah. It gave us a few players.
And Mikey Casey left,
he did. And best look to him because he's a great young fella.
And Shea Mara went to the sport.
Do you know,
great young fella.
Do you know, before we bring in our special guest, and obviously that's going to be the highlight at the end of this football pod, but I would say, do you know, a bigger reason why we might have lost the game last Sunday was not club football in the county, it was Australian rules football.
I thought you were going to say billboards.
And we can forget about Mark O'Connor now because he signed a new 2-year deal with Geelong, so he ain't coming back. But obviously he would have made a difference last Sunday.
Shane was supposed to come back.
Yeah, I would have said, you were talking about freshness.
Yeah.
If you had Ben Murphy at wing back and Killian Burke at wing forward the last day against Mayo, and Mayo are buzzing about Dara Byrne and Kobe MacDonald, if you had Murphy and Burke on that team, tearing up and down the wing, Burke fielding high balls, Murphy scoring a couple of points from wing back, would we have won the match? Australian rules is a big issue because we are losing our best young players. And if that continues, that'll be a bigger issue for the next 10 years of Kerry football than anything to do with the district board championships.
But we still could have brought in a couple of guys from that under-20 team, and we didn't.
But I still think, I agree with you, John, with the lads that are gone. But if you look at it, Gavin White, Graham Sullivan or Tom Sullivan, they're 3 of the best footballers in the country. But they weren't right because of the injuries they sustained.
Yeah, okay.
And that definitely had a huge
Joe
impact.
O'Connor was never at full tilt. Shawnee O'Shea was never at full tilt.
Do you think that the chairperson of the county board and the secretary, etc., should meet with Jack maybe. They're interested bodies, have a quick discussion at Weaver County
You
Board
should
meeting.
always,
Oh,
at the end of any season.
Yeah, there will be a
you're gonna have to-
debrief at the
yeah.
end of the season. I'm sure Jack will be making his points.
Yeah, because
strongly
competitions,
of what he thinks should happen.
motions have to be in November, and if they're not in, then we have the same. We won't change obviously for 2026.
And do you think more of the
27?
clubs are going to vote for this?
Not the
And
whole-
vote
No,
against it?
not the hope.
Not
The
a hope
district
in the
youth
world.
crowd and
Not a
everyone,
hope.
with all those
Turkeys
junior
voting for
intermediate
Christmas.
clubs.
Not a
Turkeys
hope.
voting for Christmas. You have a better chance of getting a frozen turkey off me.
I know we're talking about district champions. last November was brilliant.
The biggest
Last
problem
November
is
was the district
that this
championships
game-
was one of the
game
best
has-
months of football
the
that
game
ever
has
put
gone
down
to
the
another
country.
level, fitness-wise and football
Okay.
and competitive-wise, and that's
Right.
the problem. It's
The
continuous.
The post-mortem is over, lads, and we have done
But
it in
the
a fair
main
way.
thing, and we're like, in fairness, we've all focused on Kerry. The main thing was Mayo deserved that final.
Yeah.
They were miles better than us. I mean, the 3 points absolutely flattered Kerry on the day. So fair play to Mayo.
And
And-
enjoy,
and
enjoy Mayo.
and we
And
have
it-
to
and it
have to say at the end of the day, all of us are guilty of this.
Yeah,
We probably underestimated
we did.
how good this Mayo
Well, you
team
did, I
would be
didn't.
on the biggest day.
Mort,
And we
when the
overestimated
final
what we
whistle
were.
went the last day, and John, you'll know what I'm about to say here. I thought of my old buddy Vince Lennon,
Oh, Vince,
the old kit man with the Kerry team from Kiltima.
good, yeah.
One of the days we pulled up in Croke Park in the Kerry kit van, and
Yeah.
he passed out the Kerry dressing room and pulled up outside the Mayo
Dressing
dressing room.
room.
I said, Vince, you got to reverse it.
Reverse back. Oh.
But I was thinking of Vince on Sunday because he would have been delighted.
God
And,
be good to him,
You know,
yeah.
God be
Yeah,
with
yeah.
him.
God be with him, yeah.
And Aidan O'Shea winning in All Ireland.
A gentleman.
Connections
Carol
down in
League,
Kerry.
yeah.
So good to Vince. Every time we go to Mayo or go to Croke Park and we'd run into Aidan, he'd take a picture with Vince because he knew Vince was a proud Mayo man. So I don't begrudge Mayo their
And just
victory,
a
but I
quick one,
wanted to win.
just a quick one there on the lines of what Niall was saying there. In 2006, 20 years ago, I was in Australia for the All Ireland final between Kerry and Mayo.
Were you in the AFL?
No,
You were blonde
didn't
hair
make
at the
it.
time.
Another
Didn't
player
make
lost.
it.
Did you have blonde? You had blonde hair at the time.
You had blonde hair and,
did.
David Beckham.
He was like
you had the
Crocodile
physique.
Dundee.
And,
You had the physique.
I watched the match in the Celtic club in Melbourne with David Moran's brother Brian
Yeah, I know
and
him.
with
Good
Mike
football.
Finn. Do you remember Big Mike
Big
Finn,
Mike,
who
Finn
used to
Stacks,
play
good basketballer too.
for Austin Stacks? We watched the game together, and I had a very good friend that time from one of the hostels I would have been staying in, a girl called Gillian from Mayo. And she was
Did you marry her? No.
but we hadn't been in touch probably for 20 years now since that final. And she sent me a message on Facebook yesterday saying, John, my dream did eventually come true.
So you weren't her dream.
No, I certainly wasn't.
You were not her
dream.
dream.
No.
John was her nightmare.
Yes.
Now, quickly, and it has to be very quickly. Ladies, they're playing Galway. Obviously, we wish them the best of luck. Anybody have any knowledge on how they do? I was at their presser and I was talking to Mark Burke, obviously, and Schiffer, etc. And they're pretty confident that they'll give Galway a good game, who are the favourites, by the way. But they feel that defensively they're very strong, and they have an inside line, Jaden Lucy, of Daniel O'Leary and Schiffer, and they would be like that Mayo inside line. Maybe not as young, but they would fancy themselves of having a good chance.
I don't know much or anything about
You know
them.
nothing about
Basically,
nothing.
basically
Nothing.
which I think is a great shame.
It
But-
is.
but it's why are they trying to compete with the men's championship? Why is it on the same time as the men's championship?
Yeah.
They've got August and September that the
I
men
know,
have
and
given
they have
up.
August the 8th, and there's also,
You know,
yeah,
like
but-
we- like
and
we
if
were-
our Camogie girls had won, they'd be on the 8th,
The
so
amount-
you'd have another supplement.
Like
Mort.
they've been playing games and we've been out covering hurling and we've, you know what I mean, this sort of thing. So it's just a shame that we don't get more.
I've
chances
been to all their championship games this year, mainly because Schiffer is captain and very
plays
close
with
to my
Paul.
wife's family and play with
she
St
is,
Paul's,
yeah.
and also Leah McMahon playing, and she's a Crokes girl, and Carl McMahon's daughter, and she's.
He keeps
I'm a
taking
big
money
fan.
off you in golf.
Yeah, he did. But I came out of Clonmel a couple of weeks ago, and I said, "My God, this team are going nowhere." So I have to give huge credit to Mark and the management for turning it around the way they did. The
Unbelievable.
football, and again, it goes back to what we said here last week. They kicked the ball into Schiffer for the first two attacks. Boom, she catches it, bang, goal, boom, goal. And here we are. saying, why can't we kick it in? They kicked it into Schifra and she did wreck. And I'm going to Croke Park the next day in hope again and hoping that they're going to win because those girls deserve it. And it's hard on them.
You're going to miss our hurling
raising
final.
money and everything, I'm afraid I'm going to Croke Park. And to be honest, I think the hurlers would be happy enough if I didn't show up because I wouldn't know what to do. Like, I wouldn't know.
Do you know they play with the small ball?
I kind of do because we have a good team in the Crokes. They're playing tomorrow night in the semi-final. Final tomorrow.
Oh, yeah, the intermediate.
Intermediate
So
against Hartford.
we don't forget our own club in the Crokes. We're hurling football.
Pity you didn't know they were
Just
in
a
the
quick one. In 8 games, Shifra O'Shea has scored 5 goals and 40 points. It's phenomenal standard.
Clifford
She's
stuff.
got 1-6 and 1-8 in the last 2 matches. She's in season best form. And Kerry
what?
in season best form at the moment.
right, yeah.
And Kerry have only conceded 2 goals in their 8 matches. They have 6 clean sheets. The defence is playing brilliantly. I'd just like to wish the 3 Myvan Clonmackin girls, Michaela Mulville, Kelly Enright and Kelly McMahon, they're our kind of local girls on the
One
team.
of my bio dinner and Swankies.
And a special request for my former co-commentator in the Munster final, Aoife Delan from Austin Stacks, wishing her all the best.
You got a
for
very
the
good
weekend.
interview with the last day.
And what you have to say, it is hard looking Anna Galvin.
Oh, yeah.
Through the cruise ship.
She was playing
Is it
so
confirmed
well.
the cruise
Great
ship?
stuff.
She was playing
so
great
great
football.
stuff.
Yeah.
Great
One
football.
of the warriors of the team for 10 years or
Now,
more.
Aidan Leahy, we must admit, is here. So if you go around there, Aidan is here.
Just for our Mayo fans.
Just for our Mayo fans. And I'll do it behind the thing here. I'll get up and we'll do it. Poor old Aidan. This is Aidan. Aidan, now you see that mic in there. You got to talk directly. You see what that says?
I don't have a mic.
It says, you can talk into mine. It's humble pie. And you got to humble pie. What competition did you say they were in again? Was it the Christy Ring or the Talton Cup?
I think Kerry are going to play in it next year anyway.
Are they? Yeah.
Oh, I'd like to distance myself from those remarks before we get killed around the John. Jesus Christ.
Here's their big
before-
those fellas.
You
Humble
have to
pie.
eat it now.
You'll have to eat it. Humble pie. Humble
You
pie.
got the wasp as well. They want to get a sting.
So, folks, this is the end of our football pod. We'll be back before the club championship. Anyone who would like to sponsor us for the club championship, get in touch. We need some sponsorship. We need more humble pie. Now,
Mayo G,
you
I
eat
think they
that.
won't sponsor us.
Mayo G, might sponsor us.
They might sponsor
Now,
us.
this is to you, Andy Morton. If they give you this clip, Aidan Leahy is very. Do you apologise and are you sorry?
I'm delighted for him.
Are you?
Yeah.
Have you drink taken again?
Oh, Jesus.
Here's this.
No, it's
Eat it.
Cronin 0-0.
Eat it. Eat it.
Just with a wasp on it.
Eat it. There hasn't been a wasp on it.
Take a bite anyway.
Take a
Just,
bite.
Right, I'll do without it. But,
Take a bite, yeah.
Metaphorically,
Go on.
I'll eat it.
Right, that's it, folks. That's our football pod. I'd like to thank my panelists, Damian Stack from the Kerry Man Observer. We have, of course, John O'Dowd from Tarbert and also freelance journalist. Niall Botty O'Callaghan, hotelier and poor golfer. Dr. Crowsman, as he
That's
told
true.
us about 15 times. And John Kennedy, our former intercounty footballer. So, listen, lads, we thought this would be, I suppose, a celebration, but we discussed what had to be discussed, and we called out what we thought had to be called out, and there was no hiding place. And we know that Kerry will be back. We know the lads, and we know there's good lads coming up from the under-20, Gerard, Liam Evans, Gerard White, Killian, Evan, Tomas Kennedy, there's a whole host, there's
Cillian
5
Dennehy.
or 6.
Bigley.
You missed about 5
Ian
Crokes players
Buckley.
there, by the way. 5 Crokes players.
And hopefully there's no Crokes player. So there's loads, yeah, I do, Marco Carroll, there's Chris, of course. Casper and Keating. Didn't get his thing. So we have a whole new team. We're going to pick them ourselves next year, and we'll ask Jack to take them on and see how they do in the final. So that's it for now. Hope you enjoyed the podcast.
I think one thing we can be sure of, Mort, is that in times of adversity, this Kerry team, they always bounce back.
They do. They always bounce back. Like
Aidan Leahy.
Like Aidan Leahy, like Czech's Aidan Leahy used to write one time.
Oh.
So that's it. That's it for now. And we'd like to thank our producer and cameraman, JC O'Shea, who has always, I presume when we'll see later on, done a wonderful job. Bye for now.